YouTube. I hope this video finds you guys doing well. Today I'm doing a video that's a little bit different. It's on the topic of, I guess, finances, taxes, this kind of thing. What I thought I'd explain in this video is really around how much money you kind of would have in your bank account after paying your social charges and your taxes. And of course, everyone's situation is different. Everyone's employer is different, and you may have slightly different, I don't know, benefits or charges and all this kind of stuff. But I think what I want to talk you through is kind of the case of a fresh master's graduate, for example, who's found a job working either in the corporate world or as an engineer or something like this, let's say the professional kind of field, and talk you through around about the kinds of salaries you may be offered in Paris and then what you'd have in your bank account after all the charges and taxes come out. And I do remember when I moved to France, I was quite shocked at a couple of things on this topic, and the first was really around the salaries here. I found them low compared to what I was used to, and I think any Australians or New Zealanders or Americans, this kind of thing, they'd probably be quite surprised at the salaries here. They're definitely, in Europe in general, I mean, not just France, they are lower, I think, even if you adjust for the cost of living. So your buying power is lower here than if you're from one of those countries. And then I saw the proportion of the money going out of my pay every single month, and I was like, oh, it's, you know, quite a lot higher than I'm used to, but that's the system here and that's how it works. And I thought I was paying my taxes, and I remember when someone told me, oh no, your taxes are on top of that. So not only do you lose about a quarter of your salary every month, but you'll also have to pay taxes on top of that, and it's about a month's salary. And I was like, what? It's a little bit different now because they do prélèvement à la source, which means they take the money out, just started this year, they take your money and your taxes out month by month, as it is, I think, in most countries actually. It just comes out directly with your paycheck, so that's awesome. So let's get into a bit of an example on this. So if you could imagine that you've studied your master's degree in something, because you do need a master's degree 99% of the time to enter into the professional fields in France. So that could be from accounting, finance, engineering, to HR, to marketing, communications, the whole shebang, anything that I think you'd associate with being like a profession. In Paris, it's a bit of a generalization, but you probably earn the best salaries. And you'd probably be looking to start in these kinds of professions. Obviously, it depends what, like, vastly, but on between 30 and 40,000 euros per year. So where I'm working, for example, you often have to have graduated from the top 5 business schools in France to kind of get your foot in the door. And there's a lot of people starting on, yeah, between like 36 and 40,000 euros per year. That's for one of France's largest, richest companies. So it's not always like that. Now, you do get paid monthly here, so I want to choose a number that's quite easy to work through for an example. So let's say you earn 36,000 euros a year, 3,000 euros per month. That's the gross salary that they offer you, or the salaire brut, as they call it here, brut salary. Now, your payslip will be divided into two kind of parts. You'll have your gross salary, the contributions, kind of like the social state contributions, I guess you could call them, so things to do with like healthcare, retirement, this kind of thing. That will give you not your net salary yet, but your net imposable, so the net that you can be taxed on. So then they take that, and then they'll take the taxes out of it, and then you're left with what would be your net. I'm not going to analyze the lines of a payslip in excruciating detail. I will link an article down below if you want to do that, but I'm just giving you guys the general overview. In the first part, you've got santé, so health. So in this area, you've got a lot of contributions coming out that are related to things like insurances if you have an accident at work, yeah, if you're seriously injured or even die. You've got the widow's insurance. You may see things around maternity if that's your case, this kind of thing. So that's kind of like in the santé area. The next kind of category is retraite, so retirement. So general charges for retirement and the fact that the state can offer retirements and pensions and that kind of stuff. You'll actually find your social security contributions that you give to the state, so that we're all able to go to the doctor and dentist and this kind of thing, and around 80 to 90% of that is usually reimbursed, sometimes up to 100%. Also have a line called famille, so family. I don't have anything there. I think there's something around advantages and benefits, like for example, I know that you have benefits if you have a third child in France and all this kind of stuff. And then you have other contributions, so just general social contributions, and in that you've got wrapped up, for example, your insurance for unemployment. So the fact that if you do lose your job through a restructuring or something like that, you can actually access an unemployment benefit. You can be paid for up to 2 years and then you can still get a very small allowance, but yeah, very, very protective in terms of unemployment. And so by the time all of these things come out, it's around a quarter of your salary. And now this can change. It can be 23%, it can be 26%, but if you have around 25% in mind, that will be about right. So if we take that graduate example, you've got the 36,000 per year, they're earning 3,000 euros per month. They'll probably have 2,250 euros per month left over. Now then, there may be a chance for your company to add things to your salary. For example, in France, they reimburse 50% of your transport. And this is another amazing corporate benefit. I'm actually going to do a whole video on corporate benefits in France because it's really fascinating. But for example, I get 37 euros per month added to this because it's half of my monthly transport ticket, for example. But let's just take the 2,250 for now, and then you would pay your taxes. How it works, at least until this year in France, is that your first 9,964 euros is tax-free. Then from 9,964 to 27,519 euros, you are taxed at 14%. And so this would be the case of the young graduate because we're talking about their taxable income, not their entire salary, but the taxable income that's left over after they've paid all of the charges. So in this person's case, it would be about 27,000 euros left over after they've paid all their charges. But then when you start earning more than that, you'll realize that part of your income starts getting into the 30% tax rate. So from around 27,000 to around 73,000, those earnings would be taxed at 30%. Beyond that, until around 150,000, you're talking more like 41%. And then from there, you get to 45% tax. And I did the math for you, and we're talking about an annual tax bill of around 2,385 euros. So your taxes always do tend to work out to be basically just over 1 month's net salary. So that's around about the rate. So they should be getting around 2,050 euros in their bank account after tax as well. So if you're earning 3,000 euros per month gross, net, that will be about 2,050. If you're earning about 4,000 euros per month, you'll get around 2,685 euros per month in the hand. And if you earn around 5,000 euros per month in your bank account every month, you're actually going to have around 3,225. Now, every person's situation's so different, but I hope it helps you to kind of have a general sense of the order of magnitude we're talking about. We do have things like a healthcare system that's one of the best in the world and one of the most accessible for people. Obviously, everyone always wants to pay less tax, but globally, do you find it quite fair considering what you get? I'd love to know down below. Otherwise, guys, I hope that this was useful, interesting, and you got something out of it, and I will see you next time on the Not Even French channel. À bientôt!